All right. So
John
I
Sook is here.
think
Thank you,
I
Gloria.
can actually
Start.
get started. And then basically, so again, I definitely want to be conscious and respectful of people's time. So one of the things that I emailed the kind of candidates that had potentially said, that they would be available to come and speak to us. I want to do this in a kind of orderly fashion and basically be able to uh, do it in an alphabetical order because that actually helps in being, nonpartisan and all of that stuff. So I think the easiest thing to do is just to go over that. And I think it's Julia would be our first candidate, right? If I'm able to actually use my lettering correctly.
I think
And
it's
so,
Marvin Jeffcoat.
How could Jeffcoat be head of Foreman? Stop trying to confuse us.
Okay. I saw Julia pointing down, so I thought that's what she was saying.
yeah, no, okay. So basically, one of the things that I just want to do is set ground rules. So it'll be 5 minutes. Introduce yourselves, kind of who you are, a little bit about yourself, and then kind of what is important as far as your platform is concerned. And I do understand that a lot of the candidates definitely have many issues and many identifying kind of aspects about many multitude of views. But again, in 5 minutes, I don't know that we can cover everything. So I just want to be fair and consistent with everyone's time. So there will be no question or answer for any of the candidates. So any of our general membership meeting members will not be able to kind of ask questions. But what I would ask all of the candidates to actually do is to put in their contact information. And that can be a cell phone number, an email address, or a mailing address, or a multitude of combinations, a website if you have a contact form on your website, and just put that information in the chat. So that way, if there is a particular member that resonates with your campaign message, they can reach out to you individually and ask any kind of questions or clarifying questions about a particular stance or anything that is important to them as a community member, and what you would be able to do as kind of our District 26 district leader. And so I open up the floor now to Julia first.
All right. Hi, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Julia Foreman. I am here wearing the hat of a candidate running here in District 26. Normally, if you've seen me, I've been here as a member of the Dutch Hill Civic Association and a board member for a couple years. Dutch Hill Civic was a big reason that I started to get more and more involved in the community and eventually decide that I wanted to use my passion for the community and my experience working as an attorney for the city to run for office. I know that this organization, being over 40 years old, has been super active, and I've learned a lot from the members. So I know that there are a lot of issues in particular that I can touch upon in our neighborhood, but also I just do want to also speak to what I want to do as your council member. I have a few issues that are very important to me. First of all, I want to talk about the zoning and the development and land use. As some of you may know, I am also on the board of the Western Queens Community Land Trust. I am very dedicated to making sure that when it comes to development in this area, whenever it's public land or if it's land that a land trust could take over, whether it's derelict or something like that, that we can bring that on and as a community decide what we need instead of allowing developers to be the ones who drive the process. I know in our neighborhood we've had a real issue with, all vacant lots being turned into those skinny hotels. And that is something that I want to work in council and, of course, with the Dutch Hill Civic to fight against. I'm also very dedicated, as I think some of you may know. I ran into Pat in the street the other day. Ronan and I are expecting our first child this fall. So when it comes to education, this is something that has become more than just something that I think is important in general and become a very personal issue for me. I want to make sure that all of our schools have enough money and staff to have small class sizes. As kids are coming from years of being behind, not years, a year plus of being behind a screen, I want to make sure that they have small class sizes where the teachers can give them the attention that they need. And I also just really, in general, want to be investing in the programs and infrastructure that everyone across this district relies on every single day. Want to make sure that we are providing resources, not, as I said, just for kids, but also for our seniors. I think that there's a lot that we can do to make sure that seniors are able to either stay in their homes comfortably and without, you know, feeling like they're being pushed out either by rising rents or rising property taxes. And I also do want to, build more senior housing for those who no longer feel as though they can stay in the home that they're in, whether for accessibility or any other issue that they may have. And I want to make sure that the senior housing that we build is 100% affordable. Um, I'm going to put my information in the chat, but really, what the main thrust of why I'm running is because I want to make sure that the future of this district is designed for and by those of us who live here. This district is so important to me. I know it's so important to everyone here. And I would be honored to earn your support and your votes on June 22nd. So thank you so much for providing me with the opportunity to speak to you all as a candidate today.
Thanks, Julie. I appreciate that. Next, we'll have Marvin.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Marvin Jeffcoat. I've been in the neighborhood since I retired from the Army in 2004. I'm a native of Queens. I was born out in South Jamaica. I'm running. My primary reason for running is because I want to give control back to people. I'm tired of people with no frame of reference, career politicians who have no idea of how real life works and what impacts us, telling us what to do to our detriment. For instance, defund the police. So I'll segue into my first topic of three, which is, safe streets, education, and a living wage, decent jobs. We can't defund the police. We can't close Rikers Island. That was a wrong-headed move, and people have been on that kick for, I talked about that last time I ran over 4 years ago, where people wanted to defund the police, and they're basically vilifying the force that is honest and decent, made up of a lot of minorities. It's a majority minority police department. And you don't reform or correct problems by defunding the police. If anything, they would need more funds. A lot of people don't realize that our officers have more responsibility in a larger patrol area than comparable police departments, but they're underpaid compared to those people. So I think we definitely need to put more money into the police department, into special intelligence and community-based policing. We've lost a lot of intelligence. We've lost the streets. One of the things I did in my 22 years in the Army was I was a military policeman, and I will tell you that the first level of force is a show of force. We've lost that. The thug has no respect for the police department because of BLM and this critical race theory thing, which is wrong. And I'll talk a little bit about that on education if we have time. They've assaulted and beat up and destroyed the reputation of the police department, so they can't protect the citizens. You see one call and you see 3 cars, which means that 6 officers off patrolling that sector, and that's making us all less safe. So what I want to do is, and there's going to be a violent confrontation because they're going to have to go back in there and show that physical presence and take back the streets. That's not going to be their fault. That's going to be the fault of the wrong-headed policy of the people that wanted to defund them. When we segue into education, I want to give the control back to the parents. I mean, we've created a board of education that's too big to control, or to police, if you will. We should have in each borough boards of education that are elected by the parents. I also believe in charter schools, vouchers, and homeschooling. So in that way, if a parent decides that it's best to homeschool their child, they can take that money away from control of the UFT in a board that there's no oversight on, and put it into either homeschooling or charter schools where they can best serve their child. Right now, we have unelected officials telling us what to do with our children, indoctrinating them with Common Core and things like critical race theory. I love everybody here. I'm an American of African and European descent. My parents are white, and it pains me to see people teach our children to be many races. I mean, that's just hurtful. I want to move away from all that, and I want to fund reading, writing, and arithmetic and civics so our children know that it's not right to defund the police, and they know what their constitutional rights are. When we talk about job creation, I point to the example of Amazon, and we talk about rezoning and redistricting. To me, it seems like, there's a lot of kickbacks. Am I almost out of time? It seems like there's a lot of kickbacks, and they constantly—
About 30 seconds, sorry.
They constantly rezone. What I would do is I would negotiate with companies to hire people here locally, all right? And I would lower their tax rate to about 1% to make it more attractive so that we bring jobs back in. And by the way, that's how you take care of your older people, because when the younger people transition into being older, they'll have good pension plans and they'll be able to afford housing. Thank you for your time. And I wish everybody well. And I look forward to seeing you all out on the campaign trail.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Mark. Denise?
Hi, everyone. My name is Denise Keehan-Smith. I am a third generation Woodside resident. My grandparents moved here back in the 1930s, working class people. I have 30 years of global business experience, worked as— Sorry?
No, sorry.
Oh, okay. Hi, it's Denise. Hi. I can see that person behind you. So I have 30 years experience, global business experience, and I live in Mitchell Lama called Big Six Towers, which is an affordable limited equity co-op. I served as president about 10 years ago. For a couple of years. I was the former chairwoman of Community Board 2. I served on the board for 8 years, and 4 of them I served as chair. I actually sat on the Amazon Community Advisory Council as a co-chair of one of the subcommittees for the GPP. I have in-depth knowledge about the plan, or what we were hoping to be a plan. The process was supposed to be covered over a 12-month period, and we were to determine whether or not it would be feasible for them to come and what community benefits we could receive as a result of them moving into the neighborhood. Unfortunately, they left after 3 months, as you all probably know. I also sat on the Sunnyside Yard Steering Committee, so I have a very good understanding of what could work, what probably won't work, and just very in-depth knowledge of what has occurred within our neighborhood, within our district. As the former chair, I also sat in on all land use committee meetings, so I have a very good understanding about rezonings, the impact of the potentially rezonings to a neighborhood and how it negatively impacts those neighborhoods. And really, I am running because I believe that I am a reasonable person who is able to make sound judgment. And my top 3 platform issues are revitalizing small businesses, creating more affordable housing, as well as housing the homeless. I wrote an op-ed in the Sunnyside Post about why affordable housing is not really affordable. And I also believe that improving our public safety is critical for us to move forward. There's far too much crime happening. I think some of it is related to mental illness. I think that we have to take an approach to really addressing what's happening. I know it's a controversial issue, but I think it's one that needs to be worked on. And I agree with the community policing concept. I think some areas are overpoliced and some are lacking. And I, because of my position, I've had the opportunity to speak with people within all different communities, regardless of the background, and all agree that I've spoken to that defunding the police is not the way to go. And in fact, most believe that we should put more money into it for better safety in general. So that, those are my primary concerns and my platform. And again, I definitely have the most business experience as well as community leadership experience. Thank you.
Thanks, Denise. Next, we have Sultan. Hi, Sultan. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Civic, Dutch Hill Civic Association, for having me and inviting me to be here. My name is Sultan Maruf. I'm a first-generation immigrant from Bangladesh, while being the president of BNCC Lions Club, president of UNA Queens, VP of Pi Theta Kappa, and dockmaster, instructor, and race committee chair of a sailing club. And also, while completing 2 master degrees, I focused on global issue last, I think, 15 or 16 years. Basically, like a climate change, women's rights, anti-war, poverty, hunger, human rights issue, UN funds. But after engaging homeless survey and facing corrupt landlord, I soon realized there was a homelessness crisis in New York City. So I started to advocate for tenants' rights personally and politically. Professionally, I was an IT director, a federal employee in the Census Bureau, and federal employee in the US Small Business Administration. If I get elected with your help and support, then I wish to end housing crisis, free MTA, and other important issues. Furthermore, like whenever 51% or more people support any single issue, that will be my issue. It could be done through polling or survey, and in our area, it will be people's local residents' voice will be my voice regarding any issue, but it has to be like 51 or more %. And one thing I want to say that, like, I'm going to, if I get elected with your help and support, I'll be donating 50% of my council salary to the local charities. And over the year, last 7, 8, or 9 years, I've been dealing with corrupt landlord, and I know firsthand about the housing crisis. I took landlord trial for like 7 times. Even one of the judge wrote down that responded additionally filed a complaint with the New York State Commission on Judicial Conduct against Judge Holmes. So I've been facing corruption all over the place, so I know what is going on. So if I get elected, I'll end the corruption. Another thing is, like, when you call police, it doesn't work. So we have to figure out a way local people will determine, what is right, what is wrong. So we have to figure out a way to enforce police department to do the right work. Not like, I filed a complaint, landlords send the people to threaten me, never investigated, and they don't come. So we have to figure out a way to help our community. So it will be more safe and secure place. Lastly, I want to say that regarding my volunteer work for 2008 to 2018, I was a sailing instructor, dockmaster, race committee chair. So, I never got any penny for that. I understand with the Civic, Dutch Hill Civic Association, all of you do work as a volunteer. And personally, I know what it means to work as a volunteer for free. And it comes from our heart. So I know the value of a volunteer, value of the people. So I hope you'll consider me, you'll support me, and support a fellow volunteer who's been doing a good thing for our community for so long. And free MTL, 2 more things is like homelessness crisis or housing crisis. Like
10 seconds, sorry.
Okay, that's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, appreciate it. Brent?
Hi, everybody. I'm Brent O'Leary. I know a lot of you. I've actually been attending Dutch Kill Civic meetings a few times a year for the last 10 years. I was with you in the fight when they actually delayed the city council vote so that 11 hotels could get their foundations in the neighborhood instead of the 5 that was supposed to happen. So we were trying to bring an appeal with the Board of Standards and Appeals. So I was with you then. I'm still with you. I love the neighborhood. My family goes back there a long time. My father grew up here in Sunnyside, but actually went to Long Island City High School. And as many of you remember, Long Island City High School used to be in Dutch Kills. I think it's called Newcomers now. But anyway, I was born in Jackson Heights. I was working since I was 12, working class family, bartending, waiter, busboy, everything there was. And I was lucky enough to get to college and then law school on financial aid. It gave me a great opportunity. I learned Japanese in college, so I went to Japan. I lived there for 10 years, and I was a successful international business and finance attorney. I came back, and since I've been back, I've devoted myself to community service. I believe that it's my responsibility to make sure all the people have those opportunities that I had. So thanks to you for giving me a good model to follow. I actually founded the Hunters Point Civic Association 10 years ago, and I've had monthly meetings there where we get together and we give the community a voice so that they can control how the neighborhood develops. I'm very proud of that. We also do charity work, community street fairs and things like that. And then I'm also president of Woodside on the Move, where we do after school programs for the kids in the neighborhood, senior programming, and tenants' rights advocacy. When COVID hit, I took a leadership role. When crisis hits, you want somebody who can do something. I had never run a food pantry before. I founded my own food pantry in Sunnyside, and after a year, we fed 100,000 people. I also ran medical equipment up to Elmhurst at the height of COVID. So I've dedicated myself to community service. I love this neighborhood. So if you help me get elected, I will be there for you all the time, making sure that Dutch Kills is the neighborhood that people want to live in, raise their family, and retire. It's really about service. And, whether it's, parking or sewer systems or any of that stuff. I know a lot of people want to do the grand stuff, but I just want to fix the problems and make sure that people can live in dignity in the neighborhood. So I ask for your help. And if anybody wants to reach me, you can find me. I had a meet and greet in Dutch Kills at Doris Suda's house, and hopefully I'll be back there very soon. So thank you, everybody, and I hope you're all well.
Thanks, Brent. Next, Stephen Raga.
Yes. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. And my name is Steve Raga. One of the all the candidates here running for city council. Yes, I think someone did mention there's a lot of us, and some you might not have heard of, and I do appreciate that honesty. I mean, a lot of my work has been in the eastern side of the district in Woodside. I think, like, similar to you guys, who's so involved and love their community, kind of the priority that you focus on uplifting your friends, family, and neighbors is the few blocks and the radius and the neighborhood that you tend to walk through every day. So I understand that. I feel that every day, and that's why my focus in general, at least my organizing, has been in the eastern part of the community. My family's been in this district for decades. Grew up here, although I've been all around Queens. And right after college, which I don't know, some of you might think it was recently, but I've been here for over last 17 years straight. And I came back into community organizing specifically for immigration policy that disproportionately targets some of our youth in the district. HR 4437 back in 2004, 2005, raised by a single immigrant parent, longtime Woodside resident, proud SUNY alum, CUNY alum, and currently a student finishing my MBA and a master's in healthcare. For me, I think it's been a life of service my whole professional career has been in government, has been in philanthropy, and has been in nonprofit direct services or advocacy. Currently, I'm the Northeast Regional Manager for Policy and Advocacy for the Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Foundation, overseeing 11 states and legislation in the State House and City Legislature on healthcare bills from throughout the whole board, throughout the whole spectrum. So even today, I was focused on Rhode Island, Connecticut, and New York on the same day. So if you're looking for legislative ability and proven advocacy experience in making sure, because this job is a lawmaker. It's not social media influencer or just going to all the events. It really is, how can we make laws, allocate and reallocate budget for you guys? And I think I have that experience, not just in my current job, but also my previous job. I was the chief of staff for 4 years for Senator Brian Barnwell. So his first and only, I think, as so far from day one up to when I left to go back to nonprofit a few months ago. And in that, I scaled up our office from a startup office to the largest in the state, in which Albany had to come down and actually ask us why we're outperforming every other office in the state of New York. And that thing, very proud. Also a multicultural office. We spoke over 35 languages at one time. That's my favorite stat, because the mayor's office of immigrant affairs spoke 13. So definitely, make a mark and try to achieve it. And lastly, before that, I worked at ARP between New York and outside the DC office, but also based in New York, working on legislation and policy for senior citizens across the country. And that's something I've been focused on for the last few years as well. Outside of work, because throw this out there, because you guys are civically minded over here. After all that, although whether in government or nonprofit or advocacy, and you try to, after work, I'm still volunteering on a few boards. That's what we got to do, serve our community. So with that, over a decade ago, I founded a civic organization in Woodside, in Eastern Queens, Filipino American Unity for Progress, which was based out of Woodside, but now nationally. It's in Houston, Chicago, Seattle, San Diego, LA. And also currently I serve the boards of Woodside and the Move for the last 4 years, Queens Pride, and also Queens Community Board 2. So my focus is definitely bringing the experience of government, of nonprofit and philanthropy and actual legislative experience to you good people, focusing on housing, on human rights and civil rights, and also labor, to make sure we're getting out of this pandemic as a community as a whole, and also serving our tenants, our homeowners, and our small businesses. So hopefully I'm going to put my contact on the side there, and great to meet everybody.
Great, thank you. Emily?
Hi, thank you so much, everyone. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here today. My name is Emily Sharpe. I am a longtime Sunnyside resident of 23 years. My husband and I moved here. We are raising our 16-year-old son here. I know the district really well, particularly Dutch Kills. My son went to school there for a few years, and so we walked around there quite a bit. I remember when there were lots of small immigrant-owned businesses, lots of little woodworking shops, coffee shop here or there, small homes that have now been turned into luxury apartments and gourmet delis, and lots of parking garages for the wealthy. I see a lot of those. So my main thing is I see that construction is running there unabated, and there doesn't seem to be any stopping it. The affordable housing that's supposed to be affordable is not coming. And all this overdevelopment is causing gentrification, displacement. So that's my main thing to push back against. I've been here, like I said, 23 years, but seeing the last 10 or 15 years, things are going crazy as far as development. So, and my son has had a couple of classmates that had to move out of the state because they can't afford rents anymore. And housing is the answer to everything. And also, our small businesses, the diversity that we love about New York, or that I love about New York, and I want to protect. So I'm a public interest attorney. I went to CUNY Law School. I had a career change. I started out my career, I graduated with a BS in business. I graduated and worked in retail planning, sales planning, worked for Federated Department Stores. That's Macy's and Bloomingdale's. So sales forecasting for like $1 billion worth of inventory. But then I had a career change because I wanted to do more with my life and help people. So in 2003, I got into community law school, which we practice law in the service of others. And so I'm working with marginalized community. I've done that for the last 15 years or so, working with clients with HIV and AIDS for disability and a lot of other benefits. So that's my day job. I'm still working full time. I'm a core member of the Sunnyside CSA. I work to fundraise so that we can give fresh foods, organic foods to people who can't afford it. I'm also the only candidate in this district actually to get an A from Human Scale New York City, which is a group that practices Jane Jacobs style living, living that is have a livable city with light and air and green space for all, not tons of overdevelopment. We want incremental growth and organic growth with infrastructure that matches, so we aren't all on the 7 train or the N train all at once, and we can flush our toilets and not have it go into the East River. So I got an A rating from them. They also are big on not taking any real estate money. The candidates, I'm not beholden to any real estate, never have, never will be, or any organizations that feed into the real estate industrial complex. I'm also the founder of Stop Sunnyside Yards. I founded it to push back against the Sunnyside Yards development project that's similar to Hudson Yards and Atlantic Yards. So I started that group about 3 years ago. And I'm making connections all over the city with other grassroots groups to push back against development that's causing, our small businesses to go away and our longtime residents. So I'm also, my main agenda, like I've said, is to make things affordable here. I want to pass the Small Business Job Survival Act, reject the RAD program that wants to privatize NYCHA. That's our affordable housing. We have to protect that and keep that. So I'm really pushing to keep that. And I also want to repeal the MIH that de Blasio passed that's led to the most homelessness we've seen since the Great Depression. So, I love the neighborhood. I love the district. I know the nuances. I know everything about it. I know it well. And I will be a great advocate when I'm in city council. I'm going to stick up and stand up for all of us. So thank you so much for having me tonight. And I hope that you'll check out my website and think about me as your city council member. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And last but not least, Julie Wan.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Julie Wan, and I'm a city council candidate as well. We are lucky tonight because I don't think all 15 of the candidates were able to make it. So I'm glad that we have a little bit more time. Hopefully we can have a discussion. But for me personally, I think it's just been a really tough year within the last year through the pandemic. And that's why I'm here with you today. And I know that many of you can relate because if it wasn't for COVID, I probably would not be sitting here with you. I'm a first generation Korean American immigrant. I grew up in Korea and moved here when I was in 2nd grade. And I was a kid that grew up on public school free lunch. So this is not something that I take lightly, having the opportunity to have fundraise, to be part of this table, to sit here as a first generation immigrant. And for a lot of the topics that all of us were talking about, we're here because we care. And this is something that has affected me personally. For example, for affordable housing, I've had to move last year 3 times due to unexpected financial strains, especially for my parents when small businesses were closed, with my mom who works at nail salons and my dad who's held a lot of odd jobs. And for me, I work in IBM. I've worked as a digital strategy consultant, as a federal contractor for federal government agencies like the FDA, the CDC, and other state level and city level agencies for the last 8 years. And having this job has shown me a lot of how much we need to modernize our government. Going through the HRA one-shot deal while I was trying to help my parents make sure that they're able to pay their rent, and working with my father-in-law for their PPP loans for small businesses, seeing firsthand how our constituent services served online now are not accessible. They're not language accessible, and the format itself for the user is horrendous. And I know that everyone can attest to that probably on a personal level, whether you've tried to fill out your unemployment benefits or try to get your COVID-19 vaccine access for an appointment and so forth, or even trying to attend this meeting right now. I know that there could be so many more people that could be sitting here with us, especially from the Dutch Kill Civics Association, if internet was actually accessible. And that's been one of the main drivers for why I've decided to run for office, to make sure that everybody has access to Wi-Fi, especially seniors and children. Because I grew up on public school free lunch, as soon as school shut down last year, the first thing that I did was work with the nonprofits that I'm on the board of, because like many of us here, we are very civically engaged and we care deeply about our community. I worked with Queens Together, which is a restaurant alliance and food distributor for families in need, as well as Rethink Food, another mutual aid nonprofit that's popped up to make sure that everyone has meals. And I delivered thousands of meals this past year. And it wasn't until then, because I knew as a public school free lunch kid that if school shut down, even if food is offered, parents are usually working 2 to 3 jobs and they're not going to be home to make sure that those kids are able to pick up the food, and they're usually too young to go by themselves. So I knew the food had to be delivered. But it wasn't until then that I was standing in Ravenswood at one of the corners that we give our weekly food, even now on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, that I saw 2 moms that would be there every single day, even in the winter, with their child sitting at a bus stop for hours. And that's when I realized from talking to them that they don't have internet access, so their kid goes to school by sitting at a bus stop using Link NYC. This is New York City. We do not need to have children who don't have internet access, who have already been left out in education. And COVID-19 has already left so many who have been falling through the gaps even further behind, whether you're a child or a senior living on fixed income. And that's why I've gotten involved, especially with my technology background, as well as being civically engaged on the community board, as well as 3 other nonprofits locally, to make sure that people have Wi-Fi access. Because I think broadly, people might think, how would you afford that? How would we do this? Well, it's already being done. So we need to make sure that we raise awareness that there's a $15 subsidy now that has just come into play within this month from the state, to make sure that people who can't afford it and qualify apply for it and get that subsidy. And for those who can't even afford the $15 cost, comparatively to the $65 to $125 that most internet service providers charge right now, there are community-based models that are like mutual aid to make sure that you can get free Wi-Fi, like New York City Mesh. And that's something that we've already started to work with existing landlords as well as other tenants in the neighborhood to make sure that Wi-Fi access is for all. It should not be treated like a luxury for those who can afford it, continuing to perpetuate the digital divide as well as poverty, but really making sure that everyone can access the internet so that they can go to public hearings, they can participate in these ULURP rezoning hearings and do public testimonies, as well as attend a community board meeting, a Dutch Kill Civic Association meeting. Kids can get an education, and seniors can also make sure that they're connected as well to their family members so that they can FaceTime or Zoom and see their loved ones when you can't physically be with them. So it's so great to meet you. I'll drop in my contact information on my website as well. We're fighting not just for Wi-Fi, but also for affordable housing so that people have a pathway to home ownership, especially working class families and young families who are just starting out, because it is simply not feasible for most people to even dream of buying a home here in this neighborhood right now. So affordable housing as well as public safety. I've been serving on the board of 696 Build Queensbridge since the beginning, and I've been working with them for their yearly budget, as well as making sure that they're getting the grants and working with them for RFP proposals and just educating our youth on financial literacy as well as digital literacy and so forth. And I know there are many qualifications that all of the candidates have, and I hope you'll consider all of us and really think about the diversity that we need in this district. If elected, we may have the first woman, like the female candidates that we have here, as well as the first Asian American, like the first Filipino American, first Korean American. So I hope you would really consider those who are really crying out for representation now, especially in a time of rising violence, that you would really consider us, and I hope to keep in touch. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Julie. So I see that we have, let's see, Ernie is from, I believe, Congresswoman Maloney's office. How are you, Ernie?
You're on mute.
Okay, yep, good. It's good to hear this debate.
Do you have anything for
I
us?
know a lot of the people running, but it's good to hear everybody stake out the positions.
Any news from Carolyn?
Well, just that she's in Washington and struggling, trying to help and make sure that the big bills that are, you know, in danger of being held up by, you know, this Republicans in the Senate doing what she can do in the House to get them passed. And then, well, she was also part of the hearing yesterday, which got pretty explosive at times. One of the, you know, she runs the oversight committee, so she's there taking a lot of people to task. Leftover, you know, corruption from the last administration, of which there is a lot. So anyway, no, she's been busy, and she's also, of course, when she's here on weekends and sometimes during the week, gets out as much as possible. So I have to get her back to Dutch Kills, where she hasn't been for quite a while.
Yep. Appreciate it,
That would
Ernie.
be nice.
Thank you. So I just want to thank every single one of the candidates for taking the time to actually come and speak to us. One of the things that I mentioned in the beginning of the meeting, I'm actually recording this meeting, which will then be uploaded to the cloud. And at some point in time, if I do my homework correctly, we will put it on our Dutch Kills YouTube page. So that way your message and your platform and everything that you've said will then be able to be shared to those that did not or were not able to actually make this particular meeting. So that's one thing. And then I know that we also have Aileen from Jimmy Van Bramer's office, and I know that she has a couple of things to kind of update us on.
Hi guys. Yeah, some of you know this already because I've been in touch offline, but I just wanted to follow up and let you know that Department of Transportation, at the urging of our office, has reopened the case for 36th Avenue and 28th Street stop sign for traffic control at the intersection. So as I have additional updates on that, then I'll be sure to let you guys know. For those that are on the board, we have our email thread going on that, so I'll update you there in between meetings. And then also I have been following up with the Department of Homeless Services regarding the next Pam's Place cab meeting getting scheduled. So after a bit of nudging, it finally got on the calendar for May 26th. And so I will see you guys at that. And as always, feel free to contact me.
Awesome. Thank you
Okay,
so much.
Aileen, Dino, I have a question. I don't know how to put my hand up. As far as
You just put it up.
I know there's a little hand that comes up, but I don't know how to do that. As far as this stop sign is concerned, they have put up traffic lights all over the place. Now they put a traffic light on 38th Avenue and 30th Street, which nobody asked for. I don't know who could have asked. There's no school. I don't know who could have asked for that stop light, but they put a stoplight on 38th and 30th a while ago. And I don't understand what their reluctance is to put this one on 36th Avenue, either a stop sign or a stop light. Probably this day, it's probably better to just put a stop light because the cars are going crazy.
Well, so anybody can put in a request for a study to be conducted. You can just call one or do it on the DOT's website and submit it one. So it could have been literally anybody, but the traffic counts for 36th and 28th that had been from the most recent study I got from DOT, and I had shared with George. So we do have those. I don't have them handy right now, but we do have them. So I can follow up with you tomorrow if you'd like, and we can go over them.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know why they put one on 30th and 38th.
Yeah, I don't know the one. Yeah, I don't know the counts for that intersection in comparison, but I can also ask DOT for those two so that we can look at them together. So do you want me to
It's
wait
not
until I get those?
busy. Yeah, it's not even a busy. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Sure, no problem.
Awesome. Appreciate that. So I don't know if anyone is familiar with this, but Dutch Kills train station was renamed from 39th Avenue, BB Avenue to 39th Avenue, Dutch Kills. And our Civic Association has actually been advocating, and George has been a pit bull specifically hounding New York City Transit Authority, I want to say on almost a weekly basis. And so on April 21st, we got an official letter that says that moving forward, there will be planning for the announcement of 39th Avenue Dutch Kills. In the letter, it actually says that that process takes a few months. And so we will at some point in time be hearing when we get to our neighborhood train station, 39th Avenue Dutch Kills. So I just want to give huge kudos and shout outs to George for being that pit bull, and Aileen and Jimmy and everyone that actually said this needs to happen. We really appreciate your assistance with that.
Well, thank you. This is Kim, and I take that train twice a day. And 2 weeks ago, I did hear them announce it coming home one day, 39th Avenue Dutch Kills.
Wow.
Doesn't take more time than they used to take to say BB Avenue. So time wasn't a factor. They stopped saying Washington Avenue at 36, so they're saving time. But they did say it once in my presence, and I take it every day, twice a day. So I anticipate that it'll be normal soon. So you can relay back to George. It's already started.
Nice.
Was that an
So
actual person, or was that the announcement?
No, that was the person. That was the actual
person.
conductor.
Got it. Okay.
Conductor,
Yeah,
not
'cause
the
I think yeah, I think what they were talking about is kind of that automated next stop, Dutch Kills, right? Whatever that
yeah,
whatever,
maybe the conductor was rolling into the station. He read it off. But
hey, and that's fine. I love to hear that, right? Like any city agency or government agency that actually delivers ahead of time is good.
Yeah, I meant to tell George earlier, but I was trying to get a tally, and then I heard no one after that. So I said, well, one time, I'll save it till we reach a few more times. But
there you go.
But I anticipate that it'll be in the works. That's great.
There we go. We're good.
Okay. I have another question, as
Sure,
I
Gloria.
always do. Of the candidates that we heard from tonight, can I ask how many of them were Democratic candidates or Republican candidates? Is there even a Republican
So I
primary?
can actually answer that. Every single one of the candidates, except for Marvin, are Democrats. Marvin is our, I think there are 3 Republican candidates that are running, or 2, and the rest are, I believe, Democrats. But I could be wrong, because the last time that I looked at that kind of candidate update was quite some time ago.
Jeff, can you answer that? Marvin, I mean, can you answer that? Is there a primary?
I haven't been notified that I have a primary. I'll be on a Republican and conservative line, and I'm looking to save our city line.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Dino.
Quite welcome. Do we have any other business? I know we're missing the 114th precinct because they had their build the block, so they apologize for not being here. But I understand
yeah.
I understand the priority.
Well, I really want to thank
Officer
the candidates for
Tovar
showing up.
I'm sorry. Who?
That
Sorry,
was Kim.
somebody was.
I'll wait. Go ahead, Gloria.
No, go ahead, Kim. No, I
just
said
feel-
Officer Tovar said he was gonna be on. But I don't see him.
No, I don't see him either. I really want to thank the candidates. It was informative.
No, I don't.
It was helpful in such a big field. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I definitely want to second that.
Very
as
good.
well. It's
Thank you.
definitely more helpful, and I think that kind of the personal, intimate, kind of, even though it's not really in person, this is definitely a good thing. And then again, this will be on our YouTube channel, so I'll share that across all our social media if I can get them up and running. For whatever reason, I don't know, Facebook doesn't like us anymore. I don't know if we did anything incorrect or whatever, but we'll try to fix that and then have that recording on Facebook as well.
Okay, I want to just mention to them also that we have another meeting in June. We're hoping to have an in-person meeting. If they'd like to come and join us, I don't know that we give them any time to speak, but if they want to come down and see what we are and how many people we would normally have and say hello, they're certainly welcome to do that also. That meeting is in June. Let me see which date.
June 10th.
June 10th. Okay.
Yep.
And we're not sure where it's going to be, but they could contact us. We usually meet in Growing Up Green School. We have to see if it's available to us.
Yeah, so I think now with the new COVID kind of new CDC guidelines that were just issued, we may have a little bit more latitude to actually gain back that space in Growing Up Green Charter School, where the school will actually feel a little bit more comfortable in providing us that space. The biggest issue of why we don't have a space is because of the fact that they have to do the deep cleaning, as it's called, after school, once in-person learning has concluded, and that actually takes a couple of hours for them to do that with the sprays that they have and the specialized equipment and whatnot. So hopefully now with the restrictions being lifted, we'll actually go forth and finally see each other. From I think the last time that we had a meeting was, I want to say March or April, was it,
No.
Gloria?
No, it was
Oh,
February.
I think it's February,
It's February.
Yeah.
just before everything closed.
Yep. So definitely looking forward to seeing everyone in person and maybe even getting a hug.
Yeah. We would have more people to that, could say hi.
Exactly. Yep. Most definitely. Most definitely. Do we have anything else on the agenda?
We were going to talk about, I don't know, were we going to talk about the raffle?
So I think we're not able to, only because of the fact that we don't have any quorum or anything like that to kind of do that. So I don't know how we want to move forward with that, because George would be the catalyst for that.
Right. Okay. Well,
and
just tell them
unfortunately,
that we're going to have one, and we
Okay.
can give us on here a heads up.
Sure.
And then,
So one of the things that we're trying to kind of come up with is a fundraising 50-50 raffle where tickets will be given to members, where we can distribute them. I think we said that the tickets are each going to be $10, and then 50%, whomever the winner is going to get 50%. 50% then goes to the Civic Association, and I think there was a ticket sellers finder's fee of 10%, maybe. I'm
still deciding on the seller's price, right?
Exactly, right. So we're trying to figure that stuff out. I just wanted to give everyone a heads up. I think we had decided, how many tickets did we say we were going to sell, Gloria? 1,000 tickets. Yeah. So figure that
if we could sell them all, yeah.
That would be a great 50-50, and it goes to the Dutch Kill Civic Association, so we can actually give back to the community in the ways that we do.
Right. We haven't had the scholarships. We didn't have the scholarship last year, and we're not doing it again this year, because not only were we suffering a little from COVID, but the schools were so confusing that we just didn't give to the scholarship fund, and we want to do that again next year. And we have plans, you know, for the street fair in September, and you know, other things that we have to do within the community and the organization. So that was the raffle, and I guess, and dues are in order. So if anybody who's a member has not yet paid their dues, please feel free to pay them. They can get them to us, send them to the post office box 6237 11103, or get them to one of the board members. Okay, thanks, guys.
All right, and with that,
Hey,
can I get
hey,
a
Steve here. Can you hear me?
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
Steve here with the
Jimmy and
garden.
I were over here with Patsy, and we've been listening, and we were most happy to hear everybody's resume and their ideas. And well, George had something come up at the last minute. I don't know if you know about it. But.
Yeah, unfortunately. Hopefully everything is okay. I'm going to follow up with him after the meeting.
Okay. Good night. I mean, thank
Anything
you.
on the garden, Stephen? Anything on the garden?
No, the garden is doing swell. We basically meet every Saturday at about 9 o'clock. And, you know, we have varied numbers of volunteers show up. Everything is pretty much in the ground now. And we'll be eating radishes in a week or less. And we have some other things that are growing. Collard greens can be harvested. And arugula can be harvested. And that's about it. The garden's been busy with some social events run by the Flux Factory, because they don't, you know, it's not feasible for them to have gatherings indoors, or it hasn't been up till now. So they've been having them in the garden, which works out fine for everybody. And another update is the Flux Factory has opened a free neighborhood refrigerator and a pantry shelf over there. So if anybody has any food they want to donate, or if anybody feels they need something to get a little fresh produce, they got it in the refrigerator. They get it direct from the farms.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
That's great.
And are there any hours? What are the hours?
There's no lock on it. So the hours are 24/7.
Really?
Is out in the street, the refrigerator?
Excuse me?
Out in the street, she said?
Yeah.
Really?
Okay. All right.
Well,
And tell them where the
everybody
tell them where the
watching
garden is. Tell them where the garden is.
Tell them where the
Steve.
garden is, Stephen.
The garden is at 3924 29th Street. That's on 29th Street, the block with St. Patrick's Church, and it's between 39th Avenue and 40th Avenue.
Yeah.
And it's on the west side of the street, and the Flux Factory is more or less right across the street, and they have free shows and events periodically. Never a charge.
And that's half a block from the old Verve, Pam's, and the homeless shelter.
I hear Rita. I hear Rita laughing.
Hello, Gloria. He has to mention about the old Verve, right? Oh my.
Yep.
God.
Okay. Anything else, anybody?
No? Motion to adjourn?
Okay.
I raised
get
my
a second?
hand.
We second it.
Second it.
All right, this motion is passed unanimously. We are now closed. Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Thank you, Tina. Good job.
Have
a good night,
Everyone, have a great night.
Dinner.
At all.
Take
night.
care,
Thank you,
everyone.
Marvin, and
Good luck.
everyone.
Good luck.
Good luck.
And thank you, Patsy.